Okay, hello and welcome to today's webinar. So my name's Jackie and today we're going through a quick learn around batch supplier payments. So thank you all for joining us today. So if you have attended some of our webinars before, these are slightly different. They are quick, short, sharp sessions just to show you a feature in the software, and they are designed to fit into a half-hour slot. So we should be done by past today. If you do have any questions though, you are more than welcome to send them across. So we'll just quickly go through some housekeeping for today. So your microphone is placed on mute, so you will not be able to speak to the team directly, but you are more than welcome to send your questions across to us. And we will try and answer as many as we can during the time that we have today for you. But we do have quite a busy session today, so we've got quite a few of you on there. So we will try and answer as many as possible. There is not a handout for today's session because it is really going to rely on today's demonstration. But if you do want to watch the session back, then you will have access to a recording shortly after today's session, and there will be an email with a link sent to you shortly after the session ends today. We are going to start very quickly, however, with a poll. So I'm just going to pop a quick poll over for you. I just want to know whether or not you're using some of the features that are available to you. So I'm just going to launch this one here. So we're going to talk about supplier payments, but what I want to know is if you're using any of the features that work with supplier payments. So if you're using supplier payments via modular, which allows you to send payments direct to your customers from your software, or if you're using e-payments, which allows you to download a file that you can then upload to your online banking. Or if you're not using either of these, if you can let us know. And if you're not sure, again, that's fine. Just let us know that you're not sure at the moment. And this is just for insight, just so we can try and understand how our customers are using the software. And it's just a bit of insight for us. So thank you very much for taking part there. Fabulous, we've got a nice uptake there. So thank you very much everyone for voting there. We'll just quickly share them with you, just so you can see the votes. Don't be alarmed if you haven't got your answer across to us there. Don't worry about that. It just gives us a good idea. And around 79% of you at the moment aren't using either of those features, but 14% are using e-payments, and we do have a very small portion of you using supplier payments. Now don't worry, your answer to that question isn't relied upon today. That was purely for our insight. So again, thank you very much for taking part there. Okay, back to the slides there then. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to go through batch supplier payments. This is a feature that should make your payment to your suppliers a little bit quicker. It might be something you've come across before, or it might be one of those features that's been hidden away you haven't actually come across just yet. So I'm just going to give you a quick introduction before we jump into the demonstration, and I'll show you how this batch supplier payment feature can be used and how to filter transactions, and then we'll very briefly touch on how you can then print your remittances, and I'll also show you how it can link into e-payments and supplier payments if you're using them. Okay, so first of all, the introduction. So why would I want to use batch supplier payments? So it's designed to save time when you're paying off your supplier invoices. So it brings all of your supplier invoices into one single window, bringing all your outstanding transactions into one window for you to pay in one go. And it allows you to pay them off or even to process allocations. It's found within the bank accounts module. So I know when you do normal payments in both bank accounts and suppliers, this is just in the bank accounts module. And it can also assist you to process your payments through modular if you're using supplier payments. And you can also set up remittances to create a remittance each time, and they can be printed and then emailed to your suppliers. So let's just have a quick look then at a standard supplier payment first, and then we'll show you the more streamlined process using the batch supplier invoices. So just going to head on to a demo, so bear with me 1 second. Just change the screens over for you there. And there we are in my company there. It should be loading up. Okay, so here we are in my classic wine company, and what I do just want to show you first of all is the standard supplier payment window. So this can be found within suppliers. At the top we've got supplier payment, or within bank accounts we also have it within payments. So we're just looking at the standard one at the moment. Now what this allows you to do is pay off your supplier, but we have to specify one supplier at a time. So if I know that I'm going to be doing a supplier payment run, this can be a bit of a lengthy process, processing one supplier at a time, coming out of the window each time. So I am just going to do an example here first of all. So if I, for example, wanted to pay off one for my first supplier on my list, then I can pull up all of their outstanding invoices, and I can opt to pay in full. What that means though, if I just pause that transaction, is if I want to do another supplier payment, then I again need to reopen the window and then go in and locate my next supplier. So it can be a bit of a sort of time-consuming task coming in and out of windows and not being able to see the full picture of what is in fact owed. So what I might be wanting to do is to pick out my most overdue invoices to pay. And what would be really useful is to see them all in the same window. And that's where the batch supplier payments feature comes into its own. Okay, so let's show you this new feature in action. So like I said earlier, it is only found in bank accounts. And if you're in your bank accounts module, under payments in my case, then I have the batch supplier payment option there. So I'm just going to click on this, and as you can see, the window does look quite similar. However, my list below is far more populated. And it's not just populated with the invoices of one supplier. You can see at the moment it's alphabetically going down all of my suppliers, and I have all of my outstanding invoices here. So this is really good if I'm trying to pay off my oldest invoices. I've got a standard amount that I want to pay off today, and I want to make sure that my oldest invoices are covered with that. As you can see at the top, we've got the option to pay in full and to pay all. So if I did want to come and wipe off all of my supplier invoices, then I do have the option to do so using this button, which I'm not going to do because that will upset today's demonstration for you. And we do have the option to select which department the payments go through as well. So if you are using departments, if you want your payments to go through a different department to department 0, which it would normally default to, you can select your department there. Now, a great question came through just before the session. I'm just going to cover off very quickly while we're on here. And that was, can you use analysis codes to separate the different types of suppliers? Now, unfortunately, not on this window, but it's a really good suggestion. And if you've got any great suggestions like that, we certainly recommend you pop them onto Sage City there, but unfortunately not. But I will show you what options we do have for filtering, because we've got the filter option just here. So at the moment, it's showing all of my outstanding suppliers, regardless of their dates. So you can see here I've got a variation of dates. Some are future dated, just based on my data set. But we've got all of them here at the moment, which might be useful, but it might be that you're actually coming into here to actually look for those that are maybe due. So what I do have from here is a drop down, and I can click on due. And what that will do is it will look at the due date set in each of those supplier records, and any of those invoices that are classed as overdue will then pull through onto the window when this filter is applied. So as you can see here, I can see all of those that are overdue, and I can specify which ones I want to pay from here. So if I was going to prioritize, these would probably be the ones that I want to pay first. I'm just going to highlight another couple of features while we've got this particular filter on here. So if I did want to export exactly what's on this window here to Excel, then we do have two options at the top to either print this list or to send it to Excel. So I can send this to Excel, and it might just be that a colleague maybe wants to see that, or it helps with aging of our invoices on there. Okay. Next thing I'm just going to show you is this tick box here. Okay, so this tick box here is list invoice or credit by item line. Now what this will do is, as you can see here, I've got 4 for my supplier, which is named Bargain Booze on here. As you can see here, they've got the same date, same reference, and they're for the same supplier. Now at the moment, I've got this box ticked. So what it's doing is, because that particular invoice has 4 lines on it, it's separating all 4 out on the screen. But if I wanted to combine them all together, then what I can do is untick this box, and it will actually group those invoices there. Now, a good question that I haven't covered just yet, and I will just reiterate this now, is that this option, if you can't see it, is actually only available in Sage 50 Accounts Professional. So apologies, I didn't mention that earlier, but I just saw that one and must mention that one. So it's professional only there. Okay, so those are the features there. I'm just going to untick this again so you can see that list of 4 invoices expanded out again, and you can see them then grouped together there. So that's what this particular tick box means. So that's the due feature, and the last filter option we've got is that for the date range. So what I can do is pop in a date range. So if I just wanted to look for my invoices for May, for example, pop on the filter, and I've got 2 invoices that I wish to pay for May. So what's great about this feature is I can now go and make my payments to these suppliers if I wish to, and I can do them all in the same window rather than coming in and out and having to spend that time navigating back and forwards through the same windows there. So I'm just going to pay in full against these 2, my May invoices. Got the total amount, so if I did have a long list, I could see the total that I was due to pay, and I can click save. So far easier than having to go into those 2 suppliers individually and paying those off. Okay, so that is batch supplier payments, and that's how easy it can be. But what I do also want to do is just show you how this can link in if you're using things like e-payments, if you're using supplier payments, or if you want to create remittances as well. Now, if you're using salary and supplier payments, this is the one where you're linked up via modular. From version 28.1, you can now use this batch supplier payment feature with supplier payments. So previously, it wasn't something that was available. Now, unfortunately, I don't have it set up in my system, so I can't show you that at the moment, but I do just want to make you aware that if you've got them set up in their records, then you can select for them to be paid by BACS/SEPA. What I will show you though is the e-payments feature, and I just want to show you first where you can check whether or not you've got this switched on, and also another setting for remittances too. So I'm just going to pop into settings and then into bank defaults. Let's bring these across over here. So I just want to show you these features here. So first of all, if you're using e-banking, you can come and check within settings and bank defaults whether or not you've got this set up. I'm going to set mine up now. When you enable it, you get the option to always create batch e-payments. So what that will do is it will recognize any suppliers set up for e-payments, and it will automatically create them in your export file for your banking software. We also have the option to always create a remittance. So when we pay off an invoice, if we want to submit a remittance to our supplier, then what we can do is get it to always create that remittance too. So I'm going to switch these both on now so that I can demonstrate these features for you when we go back through the supplier payments window again. So I'm just going to say okay to those two, switch those on, and then we'll just pop back into bank and just reiterate that window for you. Now with a few added extras. So it's under payments, batch supplier payment, and as you can see there, we've got our window full of our outstanding invoices again. So this time, now that I've got e-banking switched on, what you will notice is I now have the option to create an e-payment for suppliers via BACS or SEPA. So if I am going to submit this file to my bank for uploading into my banking software, then this will automatically create them if the box is ticked, but I can untick it if I don't wish to include them in this particular payment run. So I'm going to actually create a couple here, a couple of payments here, and I'm actually going to do it on my due. So I'm just going to apply that filter again for my due invoices only. And I'm actually going to pay off a few of these invoices for the supplier here, and also this invoice here. So we're across 2 different suppliers there in the middle. So I'm going to click to save. That should have saved those for me. And then what we're going to do is just have a quick look at our remittances. So again, under payments, pop into remittances. I'm just going to drag this one across here. You can see I've got 2 remittances that I've just created there. These 2 here. And if I want to, then what I can do is print remittances. And from here, I can select to either print these and send them out manually, or they can also be emailed out to our suppliers as well. It's just opened on the other window, so I can just drag that across for you very quickly. And you can see the option to print, preview, or email. Okay. So again, just to sort of reiterate why we would use those batch supplier payments, it allows us to have all of our outstanding invoices in one window. So when we can see them all outstanding, we then can make a conscious effort to pay off those that are maybe the oldest, or to prioritize them, but we can see them all in one window. So it's nice and easy to see which ones we're going to pay off. It makes it much quicker because we're not having to go into each individual record and pay the invoice off. And we can still get the benefits now from doing things like our e-payment files to our banking software, using supplier payments via Modular, and also to print remittances as well. Now, great that there's loads of questions coming through there, so we will just quickly have a quick look at those for you. I'm just going to pop back to the PowerPoint for one moment though, if you bear with me. And as I say, keep the questions coming. We will try and answer as many as possible in the time that we've got today for you. Okay. So I would just checking through the questions there just to see which ones we can answer, if there's any we can answer on the session there. As we mentioned, this is a quick learn, so we do try to cover something quite concise, not a huge topic, not a huge learn, but something that could make your life much easier should you have access to it. We do have more quick learns coming up. So next week, we're going to be looking at bank payments and bank receipts. We're also looking at bank transfers, customizing your software, so how to apply filters and searches, and also filter your screens. Batch reporting, which is another great feature for running many reports at the same time, and also suggesting payments on your suppliers. We do have some recordings available, so if you have missed any of our previous quick learns, then please do check out the recordings we've got available on the screen there. We are still running our normal webinars. So tomorrow we're going to be looking at bill of materials. We've been doing a theme on products, so please do check out that session. And next week we're going to be running a few sessions on VAT, year end, and company archive. So there's lots of content coming up there. Okay, so a few questions there. I'm just going to have a quick look to see if there's any we can pick up there. Okay, quick question there from Paula, just asking around, is there a charge for using electronic banking on Sage? So if you're using the e-banking feature or e-payments, that does not come at a charge from us. What that allows you to do is export a file in the correct format for your banking software. Now, if there is a charge, it may be at your bank's end for using that particular bank account that has that software. So there isn't a charge from Sage, but there may be a charge from your banking provider, and that's the e-payments feature. So another quick question there around, does the bank section of the supplier need to be set up with BACS or SEPA for e-payments, or just is the BACS option okay too? So it would normally be, I'm just going to double check that one for you. If you bear with me 1 second, we'll just So we're going to quickly demonstrate that for you. Get the software on for you. Okay, so I've got the demonstration lined up there. I'm just going to share the screen for you. So I've just gone into a supplier record. Within the supplier record, if you want to set up e-banking with your banking software, in the bank tab of each of your suppliers, you will need to come into the payment method and specify the payment method. Okay, now if you're wanting to use e-banking, it does need to be this particular option here. Okay, now if it's just a BACS payment you'll be making, that's fine. The BACS/SEPA option. Okay, so you'll need to select that one. If you're using modular, what you would have is another option for online payments, but that's not there. Like I say, my data hasn't been set up for modular payments on this particular demo. So I hope that answers that one for you there. Okay, so last few questions there. If there's any coming through, please do get them sent across to us as soon as possible. We do like to try and end the session just before past, just so that we can keep it within that half-hour slot and keep it a quick learn for you. If you are finished and you've seen everything that you need to see for today, thank you very much for joining us. And we hope that you will join us on another session really soon. But in the meantime, we'll just hang on for a moment just to see if there's any final questions on their way across to us. Okay, so one final one, I just want to reiterate where you can find those options that I showed earlier on. So if you are looking to activate either the remittances or e-payments, the settings were within settings and then bank defaults. And within here, you need to enable e-banking and then you will see e-payments within your suppliers window. If you haven't activated that, the feature is hidden. So just in case you're trying to find that one. Great question there from Lorna, just around how do you import the e-payment file into your banking software? We can only show you how to export it from accounts. The reason being, there are a lot of different softwares out there, and I'm just going to show you very quickly how many there are. So if you go into web links and Sage e-banking, there's actually quite a few within here. So each one is a different format specific for your bank. So if you need to upload it to your banking software, that would actually fall with your bank for supporting that one. Okay, quick question there around how does supplier payments work? So if you're looking to use supplier payments via modular, you can access more information on our help centre. So you're looking for salary and supplier payments. On there is additional help. What we'll do is I'll see if I can actually send you a link out after today, because we've got a few links to some webinars on there as well. So I'll catch up with you separately after the session there. Okay, so that does bring us to the end of today's session. So thank you everyone for joining us today. We hope again that you will join us on a future session. And like I said, we will be back tomorrow with bill of materials. And next week, we're going to be looking at bank payments and bank receipts on our quick learn session. So please do get yourself signed up for that. In the meantime, take care and we'll see you again very soon.